Yeah. This is a podcast of Nathan, Nat and Shaun.
Let's go.
Hey, we're on holidays. Here's a heap of stuff you've heard before.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, and honestly, and this is the only time we're doing this, so this is the only recording they'll get, and they'll want us to do it again. I mean,
I know.
all right,
No.
here's the deal. If you
It is
see
what
us
it
while
is.
we're on holidays as well, don't come up and say, I wish you were back at work. Oh, when are you going back? Because we will push you into traffic.
Harsh but fair.
Well, we will. Sean, will we not?
Oh, he've been shouldered right into that.
Sean will wait for the
oncoming
biggest
drive.
four-wheel drive. Exactly, Sean. No hatchback for Sean. Anyway, so this is some of our most favourite things. Actually, we don't
Really
even know
favourite
what's
things?
going in it.
No, they're just things we've done.
Yeah, it could even be other shows. We don't know.
This is Nathan, Nat and Shaun.
Irish comedian David O'Doherty, but the man himself. Here he is. Hello, David.
Well, hello.
Ew, there's nothing worse than a COVID-y comedian.
I am testing clear now. I'm in the shape of my life during those.
Okay, that's what you're saying.
How were you during the thick of it?
It was more the boredom of just
Yeah.
being on your own, especially with a comedy festival going on, like literally outside your window. It was like,
Yes.
do you know when Oliver Twist, the movie, where he's looking out at all the street traders, or who will buy this wonderful feeling? It was like that, but I was trapped.
Hey, David, we're hearing that you need to get out of your hotel this morning.
Yeah.
Are you getting kicked out? It's past the time that you should have checked out already.
Oh, it's 30 minutes past that time. But,
late checker.
you know, I told them a series of lies, but now my lies are catching up with me because I have to go to the airport soon. But hey, it's okay. It's fine.
Okay, can I hear some of the series of lies?
Yes.
I love a good fib.
So I did say I have COVID at one point.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Probably not what they want to hear then as regards me just coming down to reception afterwards. And also, it doesn't... It's not meant to slow you down as regards checking out. Guys, I don't have COVID anymore. We need to make this very, very clear.
That's a really good point. Now I'm going to get to the airport. Hurry up.
That's
no,
right.
joking.
That's right. And he's playing shows in Perth this weekend. He's fine. He's clear.
Yeah.
What else did you
also-
use?
Yeah, you
I also need to say that I managed to do like 10 gigs at the Melbourne Festival and get COVID then. And any comedian who's performing in front of audiences and doesn't get COVID at the moment, I would say the audience maybe aren't laughing enough, and that
That's a great
comedian
point.
needs to take a look at their work.
That's
Yeah,
a great
well,
point. It's the sudden expulsion of virus particles because
Yes.
they're laughing so
Really good
hard.
point.
At you. Is that right?
Wow, I didn't know you were a scientist. Yes, that
Thank
is
you.
exactly the
Many things.
technical term.
Hey, David, when you were in isolation in your hotel, did you whip out your little organ? I mean, I'm sure you did.
Keyboard.
Your keyboard. Did you whip that out and giving
my
your
goodness.
neighbours a treat?
Yeah, I'd say a lot of listeners have this, which is I got obsessed with really specific YouTube rabbit holes. So I used to work in a bike shop, so I am still obsessed, but there's a lot of old men, adorable old men who have a camera on their forehead and fix bikes. Really slowly. You can watch it for hours and hours. And then one of the weirdest holes I ever went down was there's another thing in the north of England, which is, again, it's old men with cameras in their foreheads, and they go to rivers and they look for like broken bits of pottery, and they pick it up and they're like, oh, that's definitely like a Viking
Yes.
pot.
Viking
And you're
iron.
like, yeah, right, it is. Yeah,
It's
right.
from
it
Aldi.
is.
That is amazing.
They were on that camera on the head thing, there was the funniest video of this old man, and he did the same thing, and he was on a train, and he was looking out into the majestic thing of the train, but he had the GoPro facing his head. So the entire time was a video of him looking outside of a train saying, oh, look at that
Look at
now.
that.
Oh, coming up here, there's this. And it was just his face.
So you watched
I
that,
had
didn't you?
I had an amazing revelation. I spoke to my parents a lot, my adorable 83-year-old parents, who I
Yes.
actually spent a lot of the pandemic with. But a revelation from my mother this week is, so she is your classic, she just asks me tech advice. That's all our relationship is generated into. And when I say, Mum, your computer's not working, you have to close the windows, she goes around closing the windows in the house. It's that sort of an adorable thing.
That's
Oh my
delightful.
God.
So
That's
the revelation this week was, so I said I had to do a Zoom. And she was like, oh, great, because I didn't think you were well enough for that. And I was like, no, it's fine. It's just a Zoom. And she's like, but you have to dance around, don't you, for a Zoom? And then I was like, what?
Oh,
And it
she's talking about
turns
Zumba.
Zumba.
She was talking about Zumba.
Oh,
And so
my God. That
for
is...
the last year, when everyone says I have to do a Zoom,
Zoom.
she thinks,
She thinks
Yeah.
everybody's
God,
really
this
fit to
Brazilian
a Latin
fitness,
beat.
yeah, that's right. God, did you see the body on David now?
Remember years ago when we first heard about Pilates, I thought Pilates was spelling words out with your body. Like making a K and an L because it was on a special K ad. And I thought, oh, well, that's what Pilates is.
You did too.
No, which was no good for Nathan because he can't spell very well. So it was problematic. Hey,
but thinking back, there were days when I was like, Mum, I've got 4 Zooms this afternoon.
yes,
So she must have thought he's doing 4 Zumba classes.
he is a fitness
fanatic.
freak.
Yeah, you are. Hey, David, I want to ask you about the books you've written and kids' books in particular, because we've had a few people who have come on in recent times,
Yes.
and you thought, what are you doing? Like, they're just putting some kind of book
Yeah.
together, and it seems like they mashed it up in
Yeah.
about 45 seconds. Now, does it take a while to actually do a kids' book properly?
No.
Yeah. So I have been writing kids' books longer than I've been doing stand-up.
Yeah.
And for every stand-up gig I do, I probably do a kids' gig. And this has been the way for like 20 years.
Yeah.
And so I always feel that those, like a lot of celebs exactly throwing out crappy children's books, they need to go in the trenches and do the actual readings for the kids, because the kids just tell you if your book is bad. They
Okay.
just come straight out. And so what I always think of was, so there's a 4-year-old in my very first ever children's book reading. He just said, "Does this get good soon?" He just asked me that
Wow.
straight up.
What a great critic.
I love
Yeah.
It
it.
Very
sounds fun. What's the secret? Because, I mean, from what
Yeah, I reckon.
my observation is that you have to put a bum or a fart in it, from what I've seen of children's books lately. Is that the go-to, or what have you found to be effective?
I mean, all I try and think about when I'm writing, because I write kind of longer books for sort of 8-year-olds recently. I've written it for a few different age groups, but with 8-year-olds, I just want to try and keep you awake. Like, I remember it happened about 4 or 5 times when I was that age, where I'd be reading some book, and like my dad would knock on the door, see the light on under my door, and be like, "Go to sleep." So I'm just trying to put in loads of cliffhangers and loads of interesting stuff. Yeah, and maybe the odd fart joke then as well.
Yeah.
But it's a fairly sophisticated audience. And also the fact that most 8-year-olds now have access to an iPad as well. Sometimes you have to be more interesting than the internet.
Yes.
And that's difficult.
I mean, it's a big
Yeah,
ask.
okay.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
You know what? You just
more interesting
He does a
than
lot
a
of
video.
stuff. No.
the talent we have here is unbelievable. I'm so glad that COVID didn't wipe him out.
I know. So you spent most of the pandemic on an island with your parents, is that right?
Yeah, we. I mean, it went bad in Europe at the start with Italy and all
Of
of that.
course.
And Dublin wasn't looking well, and my parents, they're 83, and between them have every known underlying condition.
Yes.
Like when they used to talk about underlying conditions on the radio, it was like bingo in the car
Yes.
with Jim and Ann.
Yep.
So we toddled off to this remote island where my granny had lived,
Yes.
which is mostly just full of angry sheep. We went there for a month and ended up staying there for 8 months.
8
Then
months.
So
afterwards,
what's there?
Via, what did you do?
there's a mountain.
Yeah.
There's a 25-foot basking shark just off the coast.
Yeah.
I mean,
Wow.
sometimes you just think this is too much nature. Like on the
Yes.
same day that I was almost bitten by a Connemara pony, I was bumped by a shark in the ocean. I just remember thinking, take me back to the city, just screaming at them. I was once on breakfast television with Dua Lipa. And now I'm here.
I was once on breakfast television with Dua Lipa.
Did the basking shark, was the basking shark familiar with Dua Lipa's work, or?
So was it?
Where's the
Was
island?
it just a long walk every day? We just get up and go for a walk, or did you
Yeah.
have like chores?
Did you have to tend the
do,
fields
or-
and dig up the potatoes or something?
We did. We planted. That's how long we were there. We were there for the entire planting and harvesting of vegetables. No, the basking sharks didn't care much for Dua Lipa. They like New Rules, but not
Okay,
the
right.
Well,
old
everyone
Okay,
does.
yeah.
It's a great song.
But no, I'd go for walks, and then because there's a lot of storms at that time of year, I'd find stuff that was washed up. I always thought that I was going to find something, that was going to, like a sign, like, Tom Hanks in that movie where he finds the volleyball.
Yes.
I thought I was
Yeah,
gonna
Wilson.
find-
yeah.
Yeah.
And then all I found, I mean, I hope I can say this on the radio,
Yeah.
I found a flashlight. Like it had washed up.
And we're not talking about a torch, everybody.
Sean, you
It's
lost
a
that.
Different vowel there.
It's amazing how far they travel, David.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the ocean is the only thing that was really strong enough to wash it, wasn't it, Sean? And so you watching things wash up on the beach, that's where your obsession for the YouTube videos of watching old men
Fix
pick
bikes.
up pottery and stuff out of rivers.
Yeah, it is funny that I managed to avoid it for 2 years and then finally come to Australia and be like, I'm free at last, and then immediately get it. But it's okay. It was nice. My main concern was giving it to my mum and dad, and that certainly
Of
didn't
course.
happen while I was sitting in
not
a
out there.
hotel
A lot of
room.
people, they say, once they've made that change in their life, the sea change, so to speak, which you did, then
They don't wanna go
I'll
back.
never come back. But were you yearning to get back into
To the bright
Yeah.
lights.
Well, the flashlight was the thing calling him back to the city.
Okay. All right, there's the answer then.
Yeah. Just his mouth
was.
open going, come home.
Oh, God. 'Cause, I mean, when I used to find stuff on the beach, because my parents aren't that mobile, sometimes I would take it back up and be like, look what I found. And that was one of those situations where, like, I could have told them I think it was a vase or
Yes.
something, but it's just
Imagine
for one.
coming home and your grandmother has rammed some flowers in it. And it's sitting there during dinner.
It's a great use for it, Sean. Isn't it?
And the flowers are just smiling, going, woo!
Of course they are.
Well,
I definitely I thought so much about comedy because like just comedy was the last thing that was coming back for a long
Yes.
time, especially because like they were really worried about laughter and laughter in groups,
yeah.
and like
Yeah.
laughter wasn't the best medicine in many ways, and so I thought so much about this and the fact that I had a Perth gig booked in 2020,
Yes.
so I was about to come here, and I love touring around Australia, and then everything stopped. So while I did it, I enjoyed the time in the island. I was always thinking, God, I hope I can go back and do what I love one day. And
I hope
that's
one day
why
I can go to the Regal Theatre again.
Yeah,
Oh, my God.
We're actually looking at
Wow.
a picture of you on the Regal Theatre right now.
Yes,
You look
we're
great.
right across the road.
Beautiful, yeah. Isn't it amazing that we all together went through real life Footloose where we lived
Yeah.
in a world where they banned dancing?
Yes.
It's so strange. Because remember, Footloose, like a town will never ban dancing and like the
then
entire
the world
country
did.
did. So weird.
Go to
Yeah.
abandoned warehouses.
well, there was a bad moment where they said that laughter is dangerous, and then they were like, and singing is dangerous as well. So all that left for me was just talking that's not funny. It was like just pure
Spoken
head
word.
talk. Is that going to be the
TED
future?
Talk.
Just really dull, banal chit chat. Thank you so much for talking to us.
Thanks for having me.
Bye,
buddy.
David.
The Nathan, Nat and Shaun podcast.
Imagine being the trainer put in charge of the learner bus driver who subsequently ran the bus into a pub.
It's not good.
It's not great.
No.
I thought
That happened
so.
on your watch.
Yeah,
reflects on you.
The trainer does have a boss. They have to explain themselves too.
right.
Neil's in Como. Hey, Neil.
Good morning, guys.
Hey, Neil. Now, were you the person that was training someone?
Yeah, so I used to manage mining camps.
Oh,
Yeah.
Mining camps, you have to be trained to do anything. You know, they call it a VOC. It's a verification of competency.
Right.
Oh, yes.
So
yes.
even to drive a car on a mine site, you need to be verified that you are competent of driving a car,
Okay.
Even if you've got a driver's license.
even if you've got a driver's
Right.
license. Yes. So I used to manage the kitchens and the chefs.
Yep.
We had to do menus and what have you, and we had a laminator. And being out in the bush, you could never, ever get a laminator. If it broke for 2 weeks before the next truck arrived.
Yes.
So I insisted I trained all the chefs to use the laminator and got them to sign off as a verification of competency that they knew how to use the laminator.
Neil.
I never knew a laminator was so important
I know.
for mining.
Put this
And
into
for
the
a
mix.
chef,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, when you've got to print menus
Oh,
and
yeah.
you've got to laminate them
Yes.
and you have...
Thank you, Neil.
yeah, and it doesn't work, everybody gets cranky.
Oh,
Yes,
Neil, I
can
can
imagine.
imagine chaos.
I came up with a form and I verified everybody that they knew how to use a laminator.
Oh, what a coach. What a great coach you
So
are.
what happened, Neil, with the laminator? Was there ever a laminating emergency?
Well, they used to put the things in the wrong way and they'd all jam up. And,
Neil.
Disastrous.
It was a nightmare, and then it was
Neil-
2 weeks before you could get another one.
When you are verifying chefs for their competency of laminating, do you wonder about your career choices? It's such a
Well,
question.
I don't running mining camps. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
Neil,
No,
can I
no.
just say that I think you might have just taken out the Guinness World Record of saying
Laminate.
laminate during a story.
I felt like we were talking.
And we have a laminator here
I
at work and
honestly-
we're not allowed to use it.
I cannot check, but I don't think it's ever been said more during a conversation.
Well, last week we said laminate a lot.
We
did,
did, but not
we didn't say
laminator.
Yes.
Oh, Neil.
Thank you, Neil.
I'm glad you've
What a
moved
joy.
on.
Let's go to
For
Sarah.
you and the mining camp.
In Inaloo. We'll call her Sarah anyway. Hello, Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
Hello, how are you?
Hi, Sarah.
My stakes aren't quite as high as a laminator.
Oh, well, whose
My
would be,
stakes
Sarah?
My stakes involve, I'm a midwife, so teaching student midwives and student medical students
Yep.
how to tend for women when they're in labour.
Yes. What could go
Cool.
wrong?
So similar story to Neil's about putting things in the wrong end, potentially. So I'm keeping this as PG as possible. So basically, I had a very painful, cocky medical student that I was mentoring all day.
Yes.
And we finally built up enough rapport with the woman, and she consented to allow the medical student to try and do her next internal examination to work out how dilated she was. So anyway, I took this cocky little thing through,
Stop
scrubbing
saying
up and
cocky.
get the woman in the appropriate position,
Yes,
and
yes.
he looks at me and he goes, I don't need to do anything. I can tell you how dilated she is.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. Well, I've been doing this for 20 years, so humour me. Like, have I been doing it wrong all this time?
Yeah.
And he goes, she's not quite 1 centimetre. And I was like, oh, okay. And how did you get to that
Conclusion. Yes.
solution? And he's like, well, you can see her cervix, and it's like not quite 1 centimetre. And I was like, yeah, that's not her cervix.
Somebody wasn't studying very well, were they?
No.
Somebody.
I was like, time to revisit your anatomy book, mate. You
Yes,
put
that's
anything
right. You
in there,
can't.
you're gonna
First
get
of all, you
kicked in
can't
the
see
head.
it just from standing back and having a look. He was.
Oh, that story could have gone in so many different ways.
Yes, that's right.
I thought the finger was going to go to number 2 town.
Well, that's what
Well,
he
the
was
eye
looking
was,
at, number
yes.
2 town.
I thought the finger was going to go.
I enjoyed this story, and I know the version where you can say the right words would be very interesting.
Oh, it would be, but we'll do that more when kids are in the car.
I will give it
All right,
20
give us,
minutes.
Yeah, we'll give it
ring us
20
back in
minutes,
5.
and then we'll make sure we get right in there with all the details.
And the good news is that student is now a fully qualified midwife.
Absolutely.
Nathan, Nat, and Shaun.
Imagine, right?
Yeah.
Imagine that you are teaching someone to drive a bus, and then while you are training them, they hit a pub.
You just like step off and go inside, don't you? Isn't that the way it goes? We
Usually
wanna know-
when you're training someone, you want it to go well.
Yeah, that's true. We want to know what happened when you were training someone. Daniel, hello.
Morning, how are you?
Oh, good, Dan.
Dan, what happened?
So I teach people how to fly.
Oh, Jesus.
How good, Daniel.
trickier.
That's mint.
But yeah, had a couple of different incidents. One when we were in the air coming back into land out at Jandakot Airport.
Yep.
And we fell a little bit short of the runway. And we actually took out one of the landing lights for the runway.
Oh, Daniel. Daniel, this is the most dangerous job in the world. Does this happen often? You're getting down to almost crashing a plane?
I wouldn't want to go up with them.
I wouldn't say often. It happens from time to time.
No, Daniel,
it's a
so-
little bit of a risky job.
When the person you're training under your supervision breaks the airport, do you have to pay for it, or what's
What
the deal
happens?
with that?
Fortunately, I didn't. The company forked out the money in that scenario.
Yeah, okay. So that's one where you survived. What else you got?
It wasn't personally myself, but one of my colleagues wasn't paying attention whilst the student was taxiing from the parking bay, and the student turned left into the aircraft next to him.
God.
So, yeah,
It can
Okay,
happen.
I take it that's frowned upon.
yeah, it's not great.
Yeah.
And those 80 people didn't get to Bali until the next
that's
day.
right.
They were enraged.
Daniel, can you fly the big birds, by the way?
Yeah, what are you rated to fly?
Not yet. I fly mainly 2, 4, 6 and 8-seater planes.
Yeah, so the small ones.
Daniel, has someone that needs to be trained ever rocked up and you've just had a bad feeling and thought, today we're not going up in the sky today because I feel like this is going to end badly?
Oh, there's been a fair few. I had one guy with amnesia come to fly.
Well, he thought it was a car. He forgot what a car was.
I had no idea.
So he had amnesia. So what happened?
Oh, we didn't even get him in the plane in the end. He just kept walking into the back of the wing. He had no idea.
He can't remember how to get into a plane.
No. Well, the other thing is, I just told you to land this thing.
Yeah, there must be people that are just so nervous as well that they look like they can't function. Do you just take over if that's the case?
Yeah, absolutely. We have a massive range of people. I've flown with 10-year-olds who are amazing and 40, 50-year-olds who are scared, and they just sit there and we just fly for them.
Yeah.
Love you, Daniel. Thank you. Good insight.
You're listening to Nathan, Nat and Shaun.
Just imagine.
Your man in your life that loves you is spending all of his time not with you, but digging an endless tunnel.
He gets home from work, he digs his tunnel, he goes to bed, he gets up in the morning, goes to work, comes home, digs his tunnel.
Show me the person who loves digging. We've just heard from him.
I know.
Why is he trying desperately to get away from his partner?
Yeah.
These are the
So
questions.
we are discussing when your partner is cheating on you and it's not with another human being.
Hi, Chris.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, Chris.
Okay, talk to us about your partner's obsession.
So my wife, everyone sort of sees this band worldwide now, but she's obsessed with BTS.
The K-pop band.
K-pop has arrived at our home, and I don't think they're leaving anytime soon.
BTS. So Chris, you're hearing what? Every song over and over and over and over again?
When you get up in the morning, it's, hey, Google, play BTS. Hey, Google, play BTS. It's got to the point where even I'm starting to get a little bit catchy with the tunes. I know the words. They're going, I don't really speak fluent Korean, but I'm learning.
Yeah.
Through BTS lyrics.
Live and breathe BTS to the point where...
How old is your wife?
So, my wife is 42.
Wow, she's not a teenager.
No,
who's
she's
loving
not a
K-pop.
16-year-old girl.
No,
yeah,
that's
I mean,
Which is great that Chris isn't married to a 16-year-old girl.
Yeah,
I'm happy with
we
that.
approve of that.
Well, you listen to it, and then my wife, she's born here, but she's South Korean heritage. But our boy, he looks like B to the point where we go out and it's not his fault. So I think she's made a huge influence on our social life now through BTS. So
BTS, and the worst part is now. The worst part is, Chris, you've come on board unwillingly.
Yes, that's right. They've sucked you in.
It's sort of like this is the new family plan, and you'll let
Just an infiltrator, G.
That's right.
Yep.
And you just have to go with it now.
The family anthem is BTS.
Yep.
And why wouldn't it be? It's so catchy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Coldplay even got involved.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Chris.
Chris.
Good luck with that. Sophie's in Yanjep. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, Soph.
Has your partner cheating on you but not with a person?
Yeah, he currently is. He's actually on a fishing trip at the moment, just leaving me on my own.
Mm-hmm.
He's either fishing or golf. He is absolutely obsessed. I haven't been on a holiday with him in so long, yet he's gone on a week-long fishing trip at the moment. He's planning a golf trip.
Yeah.
He must be the most boring man in the world.
So
No, maybe it's you.
maybe it's you. He is the one leaving for activities.
I love a fishing trip. Everyone
I know,
loves
but
it.
like
Every
that.
bloke
But
wants to
if
go
they
on a
haven't,
fishing trip.
like, as well as the family
Yeah,
holidays,
you've got
you know what I mean?
I'd have to
You've
butter
got
up
to do
the
your
missus.
time. Yeah.
So, Sophie, these are 2 trips, right? So, just in general life, is he always going out and playing golf and fishing rather than spending time with you?
100%. I come home, I'm like, oh, where is he?
Yeah.
And I go into the garage, I'm like, oh, there's a fishing rod or his golf clubs are missing. I know exactly where he is.
Sophie, have you tried to perhaps take up these interests with him, or you're not interested at all?
I've tried golf, but
Yeah,
I
no.
swing so hard, I swing my whole self round, and then fishing, I get seasick, and it's just, oh my God, it's so boring. I'd rather
so
watch
boring.
paint dry.
Fishing's such an interesting thing because I love fishing.
it's
I'll
just
never catch a
waiting.
thing. So you got to have the patience.
It's waiting, and patience isn't your
No.
forte.
Do
Sean
you
McManus.
think, Sean, as a married man, I'd like to get your opinion on this. Sometimes when Sophie or your wife thinks I'll give their hobby a go to see if we can share this, is the guy really hoping they're terrible at it?
100%.
They get seasick.
Couldn't think of anything worse.
So the worst case scenario is, I actually really love that game of golf. I'm going to come back tomorrow. Is that the worst case
This is
scenario?
something we can do together all the time.
Oh, that's my time out. Come on.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun in podcast form.
We're inspired by a young man who inherited some land. And much to his girlfriend's disappointment, he now spends all of his free time digging a tunnel on that land.
Yep. Remarkably deep tunnel to nowhere. Instead of spending time with her, she's being cheated on by a tunnel. So we are talking about when your partner is cheating on you, not with a human being. Hello, Michelle.
Hello.
Hi, Mish.
Hey, Mish.
Okay, talk to us. What happened?
Photography. I
Okay.
reckon there's loads of us out there.
Yes.
Okay, talk to me.
Photography
And
widows.
Photography widows as soon as I got married.
What happens?
Just taking the photos, then spending hours and hours in the Batcave editing and uploading, going away on trips without me and the kids. The best story was my friends would be waiting for me to ring up, to be honest.
Yes.
And I was at my mate's house and I was going to go out with the girls on Friday night and I said, oh, babe, do you mind if I go out? You know, you're going to be home for the kids. Oh, I'm going to New Zealand.
What? Wait, what? That's the
Yeah, I'm
first
going
you
to New
heard
Zealand
of
on Friday for a week. Sorry?
What?
This is how you found out.
Yeah, in front of my friends.
Oh, that is
You think it was
hilarious.
I told you, months ago, I was doing it, and I was just like, I remember I said it's not a great idea.
I didn't ask you what your thoughts were. He was just telling you he was doing it.
Yeah, just for Christmas, spent $4,000 on himself. I'm like,
Oh, that's a tough one to get over the
So
line there.
is he a photographer or
Like
is
a
this just a
professional?
hobby?
a hobby, I'd say, but he's,
So what kind of photo? So here's he going to New
beautiful,
Zealand to
amazing.
Beautiful.
Okay,
Is he
amazing.
selling them?
$100 photo from New Zealand.
And so where do you get where do people buy them from?
They don't. That's the thing. It's a very expensive hobby. You don't.
Yeah, and all the money on your camera and equipment and
Yeah.
stuff like
But
that.
but he's really good.
Yeah, I know.
The worst part is, does he showcase them on Instagram?
Yes.
The worst part is, thing is, you've rung him with a fake name, so
Yes,
I'd ask you for his Instagram to plug it, but you don't want to give me details.
I mean, you're torn because we could get him some sales here, but
But now they have to unveil who you are.
I know. He's not interested. It's a passion.
so he's not doing it to make money.
So this is the tunnel to nowhere.
He's doing it for the sheer joy of taking photos.
Yeah,
well
and
away
he's
from
great
his
at it.
family.
I have to give him that. But when you've got a young family, you're like,
Does he ever take photos of you?
no, that's not.
Well, because
Don't be
he doesn't
silly.
want you part of it.
Do you at least have a couple of
Nathan.
decent ones of the kids?
No.
The firstborn, not the secondborn.
Oh, yeah, I was the second born. There's like one baby photo of me.
I think that's just standard, isn't it? But yeah.
Oh,
Right,
Michelle,
thank you.
that's
We
so
feel your
funny.
pain. Jeannie, hello.
Hi, how you going?
Hey, Jeannie. Okay, we are talking about when your partner's obsessed with something to the detriment of your relationship. What's going on?
It's magpies.
Oh,
What do you
dear.
mean?
Not the football team,
No.
the bird.
Talk to me,
Why
Jenny, because
magpies?
this is an unusual one.
So we have a family of magpies that hang around the house.
Yeah.
And the minute Christian hears, "Goo, goo, goo," he's off. It doesn't matter what we're doing. Even in the mornings, we're having a little cuddle in bed and "Goo, goo, goo," and he's off. He's off with a handful of
hard.
stinking mints out of the fridge,
Yeah,
and
mints,
he's gone.
Yeah, well, you know what? This is so funny. You hear about men having secret families. He's got a not so
Yes.
secret family.
That's right.
And it's a family
Yeah,
of
and they've
birds.
all got names. We'll be watching Netflix in the middle of a movie. Goo,
Yep.
goo, goo. He goes, "Oh, honey, I think that's eyebrow." Pause it.
Eyebrow. Can you go through go through the whole family's names?
Eyebrow,
Yeah.
Hoppy,
Yeah,
Joan Jett,
yeah,
Manky Anky, because he's got the pox on his ankles,
yeah.
Yes.
and little brother.
Little brother.
Oh, sweetheart, how long's this been going for? Don't torment
About
Jeannie.
5 years.
And
5 years.
They're still hung around this family, well
Are you
fed, obviously.
Suggesting, they're not idiots, Jeannie, that even if you and your delightful husband Christian were in the act and he heard
This.
he'd be off.
He's off. He looks at me and goes, honey, I think that was Joan Jett. And he's off.
Hold your
And
pose.
I'm yelling out from the bedroom, honey, they need to forage. They need to forage.
Yeah, now,
And you need to forage in
Yeah, exactly.
here.
You get back here and forage here. Does his hand always, Jeannie, does his hand always stink of mints?
Then he comes back with a hand of stinky, mincy fingers.
Yeah.
And then I've got, don't say that to
Mincy
me.
fingers.
The
Bring
moment's
those
gone.
mincy fingers back here.
Anything that's going to ruin the moment, it's stinky, mincy fingers.
Get involved.
Sure.
Nathan, Nat and Shaun is a Nova podcast. For more great comedy shows like this, head to novapodcasts.com.au.